Hello, collectors, and welcome. Mando Mitchy here today, and we're going to be talking kind of off topic for me. Typically, I'm going to be talking about Star Wars, and today we're branching out. We're going to be looking at and evaluating the Spinmaster DC Retro Superman the Movie action figures. So I am just thrilled to have these. Excited about opening them. Being a kid of the 70s and falling in love with Star Wars, there were other movies out as well, and maybe not as impactful as Star Wars was on me, but the 1978 Superman the movie was impactful. Loved superheroes as well as sci-fi and the other things that were coming out in that era, and would have loved to have these action figures as a kid. So to have a 3.75 retro Kenner style action figure set for this original movie is just right up my alley. So yeah, we're gonna open these up. We'll talk a little bit more about them. So stay with me here. Let's get these things unpackaged off the card and see what they look like. All right, we've got everything unboxed. I want to talk a little bit first about the card. So you can see Superman the movie, nothing special, no likeness of Christopher Reeve on there. I imagine with a Spinmaster who made these, made them probably for pricing, so they didn't have to have like the name, image, likeness of the actors or go through that. They probably went the more affordable route. So yes, nothing that I would probably, and I'm an open collector, loose collector anyway, so I don't know that there's any great reason maybe to keep these packaged. If you're into the card art, I'll keep them, the cards, just because I keep them for whatever reason, in case I ever resell or want to use them for a project or something down the road. But yeah, you can see nothing special about that. And then they're identical. All the cards are identical, and all the card backs are identical. So you can see the 6 characters that were released. Sorry about the glare. But yeah, so we had Superman, 2 Jor-Els, Lois Lane, Lex Luthor, and General Zod. So very much an homage to that Kenner aesthetic, because you can even see, just as they told us kids to collect them all, they've got that right up there on the top of the card. So yeah, very cool. I would say if you are a fan of the retro, the vintage Kenner Star Wars or other action figures from that line, and you like that retro aesthetic, you're going to like these. If you don't like that, I wouldn't buy these. They're not going to be for you. So yeah, I'm thrilled because this is so reminiscent of my childhood, and very, very cool. And I would have loved to had a set of these as a young guy in the late 70s, early 80s. So these were, I think they were sold through Target primarily. I got mine on eBay. I found out about them after they were already clearanced out and gone. But yeah, very affordable, readily available on eBay right now. If you wanted to go and get all 6 of them, I think that wouldn't be any kind of a problem as far as that goes. So let's talk a little bit about the line and what we have. So here we have the bad, I guess, the bad alien guy, General Zod. And so yeah, 5 POA, very nicely done, I would say. He's got that mirrored piece that from the movie when him and his 2 counterparts were sentenced by Jor-El and trapped floating through outer space. So very, very cool on that. I will show you, there's no peg holes. So if you do want an action figure stand for these, you're going to have to come up with a different style or add, do some fabricating, some drilling to do that as well, as far as that goes. The 2 different Jor-Els. So this would be the one that is in the Fortress of Solitude when Superman is watching his dad, from what I can remember right. It's kind of that light colored, so hard plastic robe, again 5 POA. This was Marlon Brando, how they landed one of the greatest actors of all time in Superman. Well, actually maybe 2 of the greatest actors of all time, because we had Gene Hackman as well. but that's pretty impressive. So Marlon Brando on that. And then I believe, if I remember right, this darker version is when he was on the home planet and sentenced Zod and his counterparts for their treasonous acts into being banished and floating through space and time. So yeah, it looks identical, just in a different color aesthetic and a different accessory. So yeah, so you can see the other Jor-El has that accessory there. So maybe this might be my favorite, other than, I don't know, I really like Lois Lane. Maybe my third favorite, but Lex Luthor. So this is the Gene Hackman figure, and again, Brando and Hackman in the same movie. It's pretty darn impressive, isn't it? Not to mention Christopher Reeve, Ned Beatty, and all those that were in there. So you can see Gene Hackman comes in that aesthetic that he would have been in, and his accessory is the newspaper. And twin nuclear missiles test confirmed is what the headline is there. So yeah, so if you remember right, in the movie, he does have the removable hairpiece. So this does, the toupee does pop off, and you get the Lex Luthor that we all know, the bald-headed version of that. So yeah, I think that's really cool that they made him like that. So really neat. And then Superman's love interest, the great Lois Lane. So I think this was Margot Kidder, if I remember right. Great actress, did a great performance in those movies. And she comes with what every great reporter in that era would have, a notepad. So, and you can see notes about, see if we can get that to focus in, Superman. Very cool. So yeah, I really, that is a striking likeness in the retro style. So really cool there too. And then finally, for the man of the hour, one of my heroes as a kid. I grew up watching the cartoons. I grew up watching the black and white TV show from past eras. Love Superman. Love the new movie that just came out, and really like this action figure. So he does have a nice likeness of Christopher Reeve for sure. And I was going to show you too, if you look at the height difference. If I remember right, Christopher Reeve was a good 6'4", 6'5", massive human being. And look at his height compared to everybody else in that line. I think they pulled that off. So great job, Spinmaster. Is developing that and making that right. But yeah, you can look, really cool likeness there of Christopher Reeve. This is the medallion. I think this was the medallion that like had that the kryptonite in it. I think is what that was supposed to maybe represent. But so the only thing that's a little strange is maybe, and I know superheroes wear their underwear on the outside of their pants, right? But maybe a different paint aesthetic. And I'm sure maybe they tried, not to be real critical, but yeah, hard plastic or hard goods on the cape, the Superman emblem, and that. But yeah, so really cool. So I am very pleased for the money I spent. These will go in my collection and be cherished as a, you know, kind of that sentimental bridge. That's why we collect as adults, and to have that to take us back to another place in time. So I do know that as I researched this a little bit, Spinmaster is losing the DC franchise at the end of 2026. So at the end of this calendar year, they're going to be gone. So I don't know if they'll be releasing. I'd love to see, you know, something more in the Batman line, or maybe another release from this. Wouldn't it be cool to have some other figures either from this movie or the sequels from that? Man, think about that. To have maybe the Ned Beatty character, to have Richard Pryor, Jimmy Olsen. I mean, that's just a few that come to mind right now. That would be really neat to see that expanded and kind of build this collection. So I don't know how well they sold. I don't know what that thought is on their part, but overall, I would say, you know, these things are really nice, really solid, if you like the retro aesthetic and collecting that type of thing. So I'm primarily a Star Wars content collector and creator, restorer, and that. But I do venture out from time to time, and this was one that I did want to talk a little bit about. So if you do enjoy this content, or you're interested in Star Wars collecting, or just toy collecting, diorama building, any of that, consider subscribing to my channel. You'll go in and find I don't do many product reviews, but I do more curating, restorations, customizations, and just some world building, some different cool things like that. So if that's interesting to you, subscribe, like, that always helps the channel. And if you turn on the notifications, you'll be made aware when I post new content. So again, thank you for watching today. God bless you all. This is Mando Mitchy. We'll see you next time.